2024 has been a pretty big year for music. Many massive artists have released and teased albums, dropped singles, etc. Kendrick Lamar, for example, teased an album, dropped it 2 minutes later, and came out on top in probably the biggest rap beef of the 2020s so far. But underneath all the massive successes of these huge artists, there have been artists making great music and maybe not getting as much recognition as they deserve. With that, here are my 3 most underrated artists of 2024. Number 3. Lupe Fiasco has been in the industry for many years now and is a pretty well-respected rapper. He was one of the pioneers of conscious hip-hop in the early 2000s, talking about things like war and religion on his 2006 album, Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor Store. What many people may not realize, though, is that he actually dropped an album this year. On June 28th, he dropped Samurai, an 8-track conceptual hip-hop album basically asking, what if Amy Winehouse came back as a battle rapper? The first track and title track, Samurai, starts with a short intro, welcoming people into the album, and then goes into the chorus. The chorus is a reference to a 2015 Amy Winehouse documentary, where there is a voicemail from her to Salam Remy, probably butchered that, about coming up with very neat, beautifully alliterated little battle raps, which is essentially just the chorus. As the chorus is, I got these really neat, very beautifully alliterated little battle raps for you, which is repeated twice. The 5th track, Number 1 Headband, is a reference to Afro Samurai, where the wearer of the number 1 headband is the best fighter in the world. This reflects how the character in Samurai wants to be the best battle rapper. While I would love to talk about the album more, there are still 2 artists on this list, and I'm really not trying to drag this video out like I did last time. And you may be thinking, if Lupe Fiasco has been in the industry for so long and is so well respected, why is he on this list? Well, the reason it's on this list is because I think Samurai was very overlooked and was not talked about as much as many other album releases, like even Vince Staples' Dark Times, for example. I think that's what gives it the underrated status. Number 2. In 2022, 20-year-old Jefte Cueto, also known as Jev, released his EP The Color Grey. After that, he had been slowly releasing singles and EPs, until in June 2024, he released his first album, When Angels Cry. The first track, Alice, is themed around Alice in Wonderland, talking about wanting to escape to reality and mentioning the Congolese genocide and how it is poorly documented and not spoken about enough. The 10th track, The Killer She-Wolf, is about Jev's friend meeting this girl Melissa, who told them to come to her place, when Jev sees 3 guys watching them. They knock on the door 3 times, but no one answers. He says they should leave, but the friend doubles down and calls her. The call declines, they run down the stairs, and the same guys are there. Turns out, Melissa set them up and is robbing them with the guys. The friend is pleading with Melissa, but they both give up their belongings. When they leave, though, the friend lunges at Melissa and is shot dead by one of the guys, the song ending with, see his life leaving, and in seconds no heart beating. My homie got some angel wings today. And I love this track because I think it really showcases Jev's storytelling ability and paints such a vivid image in your mind when you're listening to it. The instrumental is also amazing. Jev is a great producer, and Jev's flows and like the way he speaks is really cool, I think. The track immediately afterwards, The Man on Fire, features a beautiful harmony of piano and violin, with the news reporter saying, an unidentified man in the Democratic Republic of Congo has allegedly set himself on fire and died while holding a sign that said "Stop the Genocide in Congo." This is from a reporter talking about a man in DRC who in 2023 went so far as to light himself on fire to spread awareness about the Congo genocide. The reason why Jev talks so much about the genocide in the Congo is because Jev is actually a refugee from there, and he had moved between South Africa and the Congo until moving to Canada in, I think, 2019. And I think When Angels Cry is one of the best albums of the year. Number 1. Now, little disclaimer before I go into number 1. Sadly, there's not too much known about this next artist that I'm going to talk about. So a lot of this information is just from one interview that they did, and the page on their website about their bio. So yeah.
yeah.
Eyes is a Denver-based experimental jazz rap band featuring Craig Northup II on vocals, Aidan Roberts on guitar, Jacob Montano on bass, Killian Birch, and Baz Gillen on piano and drums, respectively. Craig's solo career started in 2017, when he released his album Poetry in the Field, which he says was inspired by Jay Dilla and Ujabis. He was the only person featured on the album, though, as it was released before there was any idea of a band. In 2020, he released an album called Rebirth, with his friend Tarek and Jamal Lindell. After COVID hit, Craig said he didn't feel like he liked where his music was going, and at some point after the pandemic ended, he was invited to Killian Birch's house, where Baz Gillen was also. I honestly don't know why this is, as, again, there's just very little information online about these guys. But they're experimenting with some sort of live instrumentation thing, as Craig puts it, and ended up just playing and freestyling while exploring different genres. Craig was then invited to go to a show out in Boulder, where Killian, Baz, and Jacob were. That's when they all decided that they should work on something together and put something out. So sometime in 2023, they started work on what would be their debut, Don't Forget the Dot. The album released on July 19th, 2024, with a runtime of about 40 minutes. It's essentially just some really solid instrumental jazz with smooth, floaty rapping on top of it, but they make it work really well. It's surprisingly high quality and well produced from an album by such a small group. I can't really say much else than to just listen to it as soon as you can. It's honestly just amazing, and they really deserve more recognition and praise. And with that, those are my 3 most underrated artists of 2024. If you made it this far, let me know down in the comments what your most underrated artists of the year would be. And that would be it. See ya.